Edition starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shashina Will-Parkinson. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news, the halls of government schools will officially reopen tomorrow for teachers and staff. That's after an unexpected and unwelcomed extended summer break caused by Hurricane Dorian. As Megan Shepard tells us, after some extensive repairs and cleanup, education officials say they aren't satisfied that the schools are now ready to receive the students.
Hurricane Dorian disrupted the lives of many on Grand Bahama, including that of young people in the government school system. Superintendent of Grand Bahama, Bimini and the Keys, Ivan Butler, says he is pleased that the Minister of Education, the Honorable Jeff Lloyd, has announced the reopening of schools on this island.
We are very pleased that all schools will open on Wednesday. Teachers and support staff there to report to school, and on Thursday and Friday students are to report to school. We want to let the public know that school will be dismissed at 1 o'clock for our students and 3 o'clock for our teachers. As of Monday, next week Monday, we hope that all of our students will be in school.
Now, the schools that were affected the most will reopen just a few days later. But Butler is reassuring parents that the ministry is doing everything in its power to reopen them as soon as possible.
For now, Hugh Campbell primary students, we're still working on getting them in school. We hope to have all of our students in school by next week, Monday.
He notes that certain protocols will be in place for the safety and comfort of both students and teachers.
We will relax our dress code for our students and our teachers. We encourage parents to send their children to schools in uniform, pants, and preferably their PE shirts. So we are implementing a breakfast programs in all of our schools, and we want the public to know that the water is safe. All our students will have sufficient water, and no school, I repeat, no school is to be selling water during this time. So parents can rest assured that we would have safe drinking water on our campuses for our students. Our students are anxious to get back in school. Our teachers are anxious to have them back, and so we're looking forward to this week of welcoming our students and teachers back in our schools.
Now, for staff and students in East Grand Bahama who have been reassigned to the Freeport area, you are asked to contact the District Education Office for details of reassignment. Megan Shepard, STANDOUT Network News.
Public schools have been closed now for all of 6 weeks. Aware of the loss of time and the impact it could have on students, especially those preparing for exams, one teacher decided to hold classes to help. For this Hugh Campbell primary teacher, it was just the right thing to do. Jamila Mizik reports.
Wild Goose is a 6th grade teacher at the Hugh Campbell Primary School and has been an educator for the past 17 years. She now works with students that have mixed abilities, from those who are average to students that have exceptionalities such as autism. But with the threat of Hurricane Dorian delaying the opening of school without having to give it much thought, her passion for teaching prompted her to find another way to teach her students, because she says she knew there was no time to waste.
I wanted to get a head start. I know that we were going to be out for a little while, considering the situation with the hurricane. And so I got the idea to begin working earlier once I saw this place available. I usually work here and help and assist with music school in the afternoon. And so when the school opened last week or the week before, I asked Miss Murphy, the owner of the establishment, if I could use the spot in the morning to work with my students so that we could get that head start. And so I have my students, but I have 1 or 2 students from other schools that are also part of the program. But it's a 6th grade class, and we already start working with the curriculum.
She says although it is still uncertain when the Hugh Campbell Primary School, one of the schools severely impacted by the storm, will reopen, she's ready to return to the classroom.
Got some notification that it may be up and running next week. I'm not sure, everything isn't written in stone, but I'm looking forward to next week going back to the classroom. There are 1 or 2 students that I couldn't get in touch with, so it would be good if we get back in so that all the students would be together.
Now the classes are held from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. and Autumn says she's focusing on mathematics, reading, social studies, and science because they are critical GLAD examination subjects for the 6th graders, noting that the students are enjoying the classes and are doing very well. Jamila Mizik, ZNS Network News.
Meantime, schools in South and Northern ABACO have already reopened thanks to self-help efforts. Educational officials say students are receiving instructions from teachers and volunteers in the public school at Crossing Rocks, Cherokee Sound, Sandy Point, Moores Island, Foxtown, and Green Turtle Key. The Ministry of Education anticipates that teachers and students in Cooperstown will assemble at a site determined next week. Meantime, in this next report, our Megan Shepard talks a little bit about the Chamber hosting a survey.
The island of Grand Bahama is one that makes a significant contribution to the public treasury, and business owners are working overtime to reopen their doors. President of the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce, Greg LaRota, says that immediately following Hurricane Dorian, they conducted surveys of small and medium-sized businesses to assess the level of damage incurred, as well as the needs of the business community to bounce back. Some 6 weeks later, he says a number of those issues still remain.
We are looking at businesses that would have lost basically all of their inventory. They would have had major flooding, and a huge percentage of them did not have any insurance. And so they're going through a cleanup process now. And to get their businesses back up and running, a lot of them are saying that they need help with getting access to cheap capital or grants from the government to be able to buy inventory, to be able to just make payroll and to get their doors back open.
He says so far some 200 businesses have responded, and there is a trend emerging.
We noticed the trend being the same, and that's why I can tell you a lot of them are not insured. About 80% are not insured or feel they were underinsured. We have, in terms of employment, staff pre-Dorian versus now, there's about 22% drop in staff, and the longer this goes on, the more you can expect that number to increase. We have about almost 15% of the businesses still feel like either they're not sure or they don't intend to reopen at all. So we have to try and see what we can do to encourage them to restart their businesses and try to get the economy back on track.
LaRota notes that they have been in communications with the government regarding available funding options for businesses.
The government has been putting some programs in place to assist these businesses, where now there is a program through the SBDC to get access to capital that will be cheap, and to also get grants to assist some of these businesses so they can take advantage of that now.
Now, as these businesses invest in rebuilding and reopening, LaRota says it is essential that residents shop at home and support the rebound of this economy. He adds that they are pleased that the government extended special concessions to the entire island of Grand Bahama.
Although it's only for 12 months, we will work with that 12 months and see how best we can use that to get back up and running. What we would like to see the government do, and we've made some suggestions, is put some things in place to encourage businesses to encourage folks to just shop at home. Stuff around maybe looking at making on Grand Bahama, shopping locally, making it VAT-free, for instance. That could be something that can help. In terms of the duty that's paid on items, maybe have that where you can take advantage of shopping locally, maybe with some sort of reduced duty that's paid on the goods. But we need to look at creative ways to incentivize people to shop at home. We need the money to stay at home, especially when folks get some of this insurance money. They have to replace furniture. They need to get building material. They need to get appliances. If we can find a way to make it more attractive for them to do that at home, I think that's what we need to be doing.
Megan Shepard, STANDOUT Network News.
Well, we have an update tonight on trash collection on the island. Those at the helm say while it is a big undertaking, they are up to the task. Jamila Mizik reports.
Hundreds of Grand Bahama homes have been destroyed by Category 5 Hurricane Dorian, leaving many of them gutted, and as a result, the level of debris around the island is at an all-time high. But the island's major garbage collection company is up to the task. Sanitation Services General Manager Lou Carroll says the day following the storm, the landfill was open for business despite significant damage to the property.
Right now we're operating you could say 90% to 95% normal. We did experience damage structurally at the landfill. Most of our structures are gone. But that only amounts to some like blower sheds and that kind of thing. The new wetlands that we just started to commission, we have to recommission.
But in terms of garbage collection,
to date, we have collected 1,100 tons. That's about 2,500 loads. And that's the city of Freeport and Lucaya. And that's not just sanitation vehicles, that's all of the vehicles that are operating, because of course we have a lot of contractors other than ourselves out there working. You see the 7-day operations going on between Lucaya and Lusco. That's really because we are alternating, and so are the contractors.
He says fortunately just a year ago, they constructed a new cell, which leaves them with much more space to accommodate the increased volume of garbage they're now getting due to the storm. But he says it's filling up pretty quickly.
What we're doing at this point, just as a precautionary measure, we are going through the design stage of the next cell. We are also going into the ripping and grubbing stage of the next cell, because those are the things that actually take long in the construction process. So that will put us in a position that if we find that we begin to run out of space, we can then go full force and commission the next cell pretty quickly, within a month or two.
Jamila Mizik, STANDOUT Network News.
And this update now on the recovery process over in ABACO issued by the Office of the Prime Minister. According to a press release, RV trailers to house critical government workers are on the way to ABACO. The first batch of 100 RV trailers that will be used to house 300 critical government personnel are on the way to ABACO as part of the effort to rebuild devastated communities following Hurricane Dorian. The full complement of trailers is expected to arrive in ABACO by the weekend. The workers will play an essential role in the reconstruction and recovery efforts on the island. The trailers are assigned to various government agencies, including 15 to the Ministry of Health, 8 to airports, 20 to security forces, 6 for Ministry of Works, and 1 has been reserved as a workspace for senior government officials. Now, efforts are also underway to have the port at Marsh Harbor fully operational, and work has already started to fully reopen the Marsh Harbor International Airport. According to the release, a protocol is being determined for the relocation of individuals to ABACO. A land site next to the Spring City subdivision is being prepared to create the Family Relief Center, which will serve as a temporary housing accommodation for families affected by the hurricane. The Family Relief Center will comprise of 250 dome structures that will include plumbing, drainage, a sewer system, and electricity. Each dome can accommodate 4 to 5 people. Materials for the infrastructure work are scheduled to arrive in ABACO sometime this week. Now to news from the court, where a 26-year-old Freeport man was charged with 2 counts of attempted murder. Fakara Morley of Tamarind Street appearing before Magistrate Rangan Johnson on possession of a firearm with the intent to endanger life and 2 counts of attempted murder. He is accused of shooting 2 men last Wednesday at a business establishment in the area of East Atlantic Drive and East Sunrise Boulevard. Morley was not required to enter a plea. Bail was denied and the matter was adjourned to March of next year. The condition of the 2 shooting victims are not known at this time. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Stay with us. There's more news on the other side of the break.